Marketing for Profits. This is the Sales and Persuasion podcast that gives you the skills, the tools, the strategies that you need to go out and crush it in your sales career. Sponsored by RadioUpdate.com, your source for all things radio industry on the internet, whether you're looking for technical help, engineering help, programming help, sales and marketing help, on-air talent, front office, whatever. Andy Meadows runs the show over there. He runs a great publication, so check out radioupdate.com. We do thank them for hosting us and for getting us started here over on the podcast. And again, we try to help. I'm Brent Hoodenpyle. I am your host. We try to help salespeople here really enhance their sales careers and go out and be very successful. And I have a guy on today who I think can help you do just that. His name is Al Kushner, and he's coming to us from Boca Raton, Florida. Hello, Al. How are you doing?
Well, I'm doing great, Brent. Hope all is well with you.
It is very well, thank you. Now, Al is, I'm going to read a little bio here we prepped up. You're an award-winning author, a keynote speaker, a podcaster. You're a LinkedIn growth strategist. You're the creator of the LinkedVantage system. You've empowered over 400 professionals to generate $50,000 to $250,000 in new business by leveraging AI to turn LinkedIn profiles into revenue machines. Man, that sounds good. You have a new book out, came out like last month or a couple months ago, The AI LinkedIn Advantage, which offers cutting-edge strategies for digital networking and personal branding. And once again, welcome to the show, Al. So yeah, first of all, congratulations on the new book.
Thank you. This was something that I'm really proud about, and I hope it helps a lot of people. So I'm hoping to share some insight tonight on some things that really helped me with my success on LinkedIn.
Very cool. So let me ask you this. How long have you been on LinkedIn? Have you been on LinkedIn from were you an early adopter to LinkedIn? Have you been on there from the very beginning?
Yeah, pretty much. It was something that I stuck through it through the years, and it was really incredible in how it grew to where it is right now. So I'm very fortunate to have a lot of the information that I learned from previous years to take it with me to its current incarnation right now, which is over 1 billion users, I believe.
That is crazy, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, and that is my question for you. It's current incarnation, because I have a friend I was speaking with the other day, and he's for the first time in a long time. He's been looking for a job, and he's like, yeah, you ought to get on LinkedIn. It's great. He's like, it's different than it used to be. And so I guess my question is LinkedIn different than it used to be? Or are we just more open to LinkedIn and everything that it can offer now? I mean, how is LinkedIn, you say it's current incarnation, how has it changed over the years? What's different about it today than it used to be?
Well, certainly they've embraced video, which is really incredible and has been very favored by the algorithm. So if you have created videos that are of value, I think that's definitely a way to help connect with people. And I'm part of a lot of groups on LinkedIn, and I usually post 3 times a week with videos. So it's really incredible the reach you can get.
And I heard that that's something different about LinkedIn. Hey, I mean, that is kind of cool that they've embraced video. And I think I've heard you say that maybe the video is because they're so starved for video content. The algorithm boosts it even more, or is more favorable to it than it is other content. But I also heard that something like only 8% of LinkedIn users actually post on there. Is that a true statistic? Does that sound right to you?
I'm not sure. I mean, I think there are a variety of statistics out there. I find that there are people who are active who are really, I mean, a lot of my clients are pretty much active on LinkedIn, and they see it as an integral part of their work. A lot of my clients are entrepreneurs. I deal with financial planners, accountants. So they have to be pretty much on top of things when it comes to LinkedIn, because they connect with a lot of their clients on that platform. So they're quite active.
So LinkedIn, for somebody like that, it's a chance to make connections. It's a chance to demonstrate expertise and knowledge and build authority by the content that you create. Is that where the prospecting and the sales also happen too? Is LinkedIn viable for that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, LinkedIn could help you create the ability to become a thought leader. If you create content that resonates well with whoever you're connecting with, you'll find people will follow you and look forward to whatever things you offer, as long as it's educational by nature. Most people appreciate the value.
That's very interesting. So a lot of people, and I'm going to ask you this because you're the expert, and I would be curious to get your take on it. My wife is an educator, and she would teach college or graduating kids from high school going into college. And she's like, you got to be on LinkedIn. And they're like, well, why should we be on LinkedIn? Why can't we just be on Facebook or Twitter or something like that? When somebody asks you why to be to LinkedIn, then maybe they're not the entrepreneur, or maybe they're not, in the business where they're always looking for clients or demonstrating their expertise through as a master of their field. I mean, what's just the general reason? Is just networking and making connections, and is that the biggest value for just everybody to kind of be on LinkedIn? What answer would you give to the high school kids or the college kids of why they should be there?
Well, for high school and college, I would say that it lays the groundwork, especially if they're looking for jobs in this competitive marketplace, because the fact is that with AI technology, AI is pretty much using or reviewing the resumes that come in. And once they get past that stage, the next stage, of course, is they look at the social media. And LinkedIn is going to be the first thing they're going to check out an employer to find out exactly, more about the individual that may be a possible candidate to work at their firm. So they want to know, what exactly they're all about. So that's really where LinkedIn comes in. A lot of times they'll ask you if you have a profile on LinkedIn, and they'll inquire about, what you're all about. And if your profile is not really optimized for it, you'll find yourself at a loss, where your competitors will probably have an optimized profile and be able to, get the job that you so wanted, because, maybe you have a great resume, but if you have a poor profile, that's going to hurt you. And that's really
Yeah,
something you
that's
got
a
to work
tough
on.
tiebreaker to lose on, right? When all you had to do was make your presence known for a while. So what does the day in the life or the week in the life of a successful or a proficient LinkedIn user look like? Somebody who's really good at LinkedIn, and let's say maybe they're just getting on LinkedIn. What is that first month? I mean, what's the ramp up phase? What does the first month to 2 or 3 months look like? What should they be focused on? Is it making connections? Is it commenting on other people's stuff? Is it reposting other people's stuff? Is it getting followers and doing endorsements? What is your kind of roadmap for somebody just starting out?
Very simple. It's like, you're building a house. You have to have a foundation. And if your profile is not optimized, outreach and everything else is just going to fall by the wayside. And that's really a problem. People think they can just get on LinkedIn and right off the bat, just reach out to people and they'll be happy to connect with you. And that's not the case. And the first thing they're going to look at is your profile, whether it's your headshot, if it's current, or your background image. And most importantly, a summary of what you offer or what you're all about. And other things that should also be noted is if you're part of any groups on LinkedIn, and also if you have any recommendations, which very few people do on that platform. So that's going to be held against you when whoever you want to do an outreach. So you really need to get your profile optimized so it looks presentable to whoever you want to connect with.
So tell me about recommendations. That's something that's kind of unique to LinkedIn. I think I lost you there, Al. Oh,
Okay,
Kushner's
I
recording.
guess the background image went out over there. Your question again was?
Yeah, so, tell me about recommendations. That's something that seems to be rather it's unique to LinkedIn, right? That's that's kind of it's maybe it's special thing that separates it from other social media platforms.
Well, there are other platforms that do have it, but I think what's important is that, and recommendations usually is kind of towards the bottom of the profile, but it's probably the most important part of a profile because it's a third party endorsement. It's someone saying
Yeah.
or vouching for who you are. And if you don't have anything or you haven't looked at it in years, well, that's going to be held against you. People think that doesn't matter, but it does. And I find to be important to proactives. When I coach my clients or train them, first thing we focus in on is getting more recommendations. And that really is essential, whoever you're connecting with. So, for example, when we finish this podcast, you can get a recommendation from me. And I'll provide some suggested, recommendation that you can use. Make it easy for the person to get the recommendation from. That's important. But if you do it proactively, you'll find that it'll be really second nature to you. And once you do that, you'll find that a lot of people will be more accepting of your connections because they know people who they know people who recommended you, and they may accept you and trust you. And that's really what it's all about.
So the foundation is optimizing your profile, which means it's getting that good headshot, good background image, optimizing your profile, which I guess it makes it, you want to be found for the things that you want to be found for, right? So you put those things in your profile. If you're looking for a certain client on there, say you're a CPA that focuses on doctors, do you mention that in your profile? Do you mention the people that you're looking for, or just the skills that you have as far as optimization goes?
Well, I'd say it's the skills that you have because LinkedIn is really also a search engine. And a lot of
Mm.
times, doctors, for example, may be looking for an accountant to help them with their issues. So you want to have certain keywords as part of your title. And also, most importantly, is content because that's what a lot of times people will read about things that you solve for doctors. So if you solve problems for doctors, well, definitely showcase it. That'll be important. Create some videos that'll be helpful for them. How about a newsletter each week that goes out to doctors that may find it of value? So it just depends on who you're approaching. And I work with a lot of accountants who are specializing in certain industries, and they know that in order to get their attention, they have to become a thought leader. And how to do that, of course, is create value, which includes whether it's content or creating videos, newsletters. That's always the factor in making a decision whether they want to do business with you or not.
That is, man, that's very excellent advice. So as far as content, does the algorithm favor any sort of pattern of content? Does it favor daily content? Does it favor, I mean, how often are you coaching people to post something as far as content goes?
Well, at least a minimum once a week, I think is good. I do newsletters for different industries, and I also post 3 times a week to groups for videos. So I guess it depends on your what you're trying to accomplish or establish. For me, LinkedIn is a gold mine for a lot of clients who are looking to better themselves on LinkedIn's platform. So for me, it's great. I'm always busy.
That's very interesting. So tell me about, you've mentioned two things quite a bit here. You've mentioned groups and newsletters. How does a LinkedIn group differ from, say, a Facebook group? Is it the same sort of concept where there's people that like some certain topic and they join? Is that explain?
Well, groups usually are I guess, depending on the interest. I found that a lot of them are business related. There can be groups for accountants, a group for financial planners, all varieties. I'm part of like 24 different groups on there, which is kind of targeting the audience I'm looking for. And I find what's good about the groups compared to other platforms is that they are very selective on who they accept into the group. And they're very good at eliminating spammers, which are really deter you from being part of a group. Unlike other groups, which is almost like a Wild West, LinkedIn is not necessarily the case over there. They're very much pulling it in. And if you're reaching out to people or you're going to spam groups, not only going to be kicked out, but LinkedIn may decide to close your account because you're considered that way. So, and they do verification as well nowadays, for verifying your ID in order to be considered someone, that is a real person. That's the problem with the other type of platforms is that, there is no checks and balances. With LinkedIn, they've really come a long way from the beginning to really make sure that whoever you're connecting with is who they say they are. And I think that's important, and that really improves everybody's experience on there because they're dealing with real people.
Yes. So what is the? I mean, certainly, uh, and that's kind of the thing that always uh, uh, I'm unsure of about LinkedIn. Certainly, everybody's there, probably more than any other platform. It's business driven. It's connecting. It's networking. um, uh, prospecting, their sales navigator, right? So definitely you do want to make connections, and at some point you do want to do marketing, right? At some point you definitely do want to try and get a lead or convert a lead into a sale or something. But so how do you do that in a way that's professional and respectable, but also effective? Do you know what I'm saying? It's like how do you also do it in a way that people will respond and want to do business with you? Do they want to do business with you because of the way you reach out, or is it because of the content that you create?
Well, for the most part, it is content is king on the platform. So in my circumstance, I create newsletters and I provide value to certain industries that I work with. But if I want to reach out to someone, what I usually like to do is not necessarily make a direct connection, but I would follow someone, particularly an influencer. And as soon as they post on LinkedIn, I get notified and I reply to that post in a way that is constructive, and not about, oh, thanks for sharing, but, provide value to that particular post that the influencer did, and maybe even add something to it, and even ask a question or two that could help get a response. And I find that's a great way to connect with an influencer, because once you post, and ideally you want to post within the first 5 to 10 minutes, because they can be with hundreds of followers and all of a sudden. But what's good about it is that when you post first, you'll be pretty much on top of all the other commentaries above that. So that really gives you ability to get recognized, and maybe even other people follow you as a result of being, part of that influencer. So that's a great strategy to use. So a lot of different techniques. I work with clients on how to connect with, whether it's influencers or be part of groups. It's all about giving value to whoever you want to connect with, and you want to give as much value so you become trusted. And once you gain their trust, that's when you can start to do business.
Very cool. So, and you don't want to comment and post a link to your own thing, which seems pretty obvious, but some people, I think not. Well, that's very cool. So talk to me about, so you're a member of 24 groups. They're all dealing with the type of business that you like to do, the type of people you like to connect with. What is your process now? You said you post videos to groups 3 times a week. Is it one video that you're repurposing to all the different groups? It's kind of a general thing. And is it just content that you come up with, or are you addressing specific concerns that people have? I mean, what is your take on the video content there that you're producing and interacting with the groups?
Well, very simple. I have a podcast. It's called the AI Authority Edge, and I release it 4 times a week. It's a kind of a solo effort. And what I find is that I take it and repurpose it into audiograms, and it's all educational, and the groups are usually, well, they like it. They're very intrigued by it, and all it is just education and talking about the latest AI techniques, and some of it's related to LinkedIn, some of it's related to social media. But the idea, of course, is that you come across as an educator and as an expert. So when I post into those groups, and usually I get a lot of commentary and people interested and likes, and that's something that I continue to do, and I find it to be really a great way to expand my.
That is very cool. And so going back then to the newsletters, because these intrigue me, because I think you said before that LinkedIn is really a great syndication engine, right? LinkedIn gets into your inbox. I have a whole section that's just LinkedIn, LinkedIn, LinkedIn. It's telling me that I'm on a roll all the time. With newsletters, do you start those within groups? You just kind of start them on your own, and you have certain channels that you market them to. And is it a day? Is it a weekly newsletter that you do? How does that work?
Well, I do a weekly newsletter, and I have about 5 different specializations in the newsletter. I have accountants that I work with. I have financial planners, attorneys, and I send out newsletters for each particular area of their industry. So I do that once a week, and it goes out, and people subscribe to it. And so it's not something that I can post into groups per se, but I
Okay.
find that people who look at my profile and they want to subscribe to a group, then, or a newsletter, they can certainly do that. And and those who are getting my newsletter get it not only a notification on LinkedIn, but also outside of LinkedIn too, directly into their email box in the corporation. I mean, what's great about it has such a high authority, it bypasses spam filters. So you can really get very high engagement by having that ability to, make a connection with someone that is probably better than if you try to send it on your own. So LinkedIn is a great platform to facilitate newsletters.
That is very cool. Do you actively try to get subscribers? I mean, are there things that you do to try to get subscribers, or do you just post it on your profile, or I guess you post it, or do you, hey, this edition of the newsletter is out for so and so? Is that how do you build that subscriber base for that?
Well, again, when you release a newsletter, you have at the bottom hashtags, and therefore it can be found if somebody's doing a search on it. I had a recent newsletter I did for attorneys about the latest updates on LinkedIn, and it really almost went viral. It actually did go viral, like 3,000 views or something. And
Wow.
I find it to be really well received, and I made that actually part of my profile to showcase that. And it just depends on the content you're working with, but I find that if you specialize, instead of being a generalist, but a specialist, that gets much more attention that way. And so I work with attorneys and I work with CPAs or financial planners and focusing on some of their issues that they have in dealing with LinkedIn, and whether it's trying to find new clients or trying to improve their SSI scores. These are examples that I share in my newsletter.
Man, that is great. So that is very exciting. So I guess LinkedIn, to me, I think the problem that it's always been with for me is it has not been that. I guess Facebook's just, it's simple stupid, right? Even though it's like, comment, whatever. LinkedIn, it seems that the game is different there, where you really have to up your game with the content that you produce. And so how often a day, just in general, are you like always, are you often on LinkedIn all day long? Are you always kind of looking for comments? Do you have a quota that you try to do on comments and interactions and recommendations? Or is it just all completely organic with you at this point?
Well, I mean, I try to do it at least once a day. I don't spend a lot of time on it, but what I do is that if I do post something and somebody replies or responds, then I try to respond quickly to that individual because I think that's important to establish a relationship. Because some people, for example, just post and ghost, and and that's not active at all, and that's really not a good thing, especially if you want to build relationships. You want to be at least responsible to interact with someone who's interacting with your particular post. And if you're doing a newsletter, a lot of times the newsletters I will do it in advance and schedule it in advance so it's always available, as well as my audiograms. So I have the content at hand. I don't have to do it every day, new content, but I schedule in advance. And I find that to be an effective method of, being present on there. And people seem to like the fact that they're getting information that's valuable. So that's what's important.
Yeah, providing the value, right? So how long is your newsletter on average? Like, 1,000 words, 500? I mean, is it a long thing? Is it just a short kind of easily consumable thing? Is there a link that you recommend? I guess that's what I'm after there.
It all varies. I would say average anywhere from 750 words to 1,200 words. It just depends on the
Okay,
topic.
nice.
But I find that people who read it always find value or get something out of it, and that's most important. So it's not necessarily the length of it, but the value that they get from it. If they see they're getting value, they'll continue to subscribe, and that's really what it's all about. A lot of times I find when I get newsletters from other people, it's always self-serving, and that's really the wrong approach. And that's why a lot of times newsletters are not effective because they do it the wrong way.
Yes, when it's you're not casting yourself as the thought leader by being self-serving. I love that phrase, being a thought leader, and that really can help you guide you to create the right kind of content. Right? You're trying to add value, you're trying to be a leader, and really contribute to the conversation and lead it when possible. Talk to me about Sales Navigator. Now, this is the sales and marketing podcast, so certainly everybody needs to be on LinkedIn. They need to have their profiles optimized. What is Sales Navigator? And maybe explain that to people who don't know what it is. And how does it help somebody who is trying to make connections and find clients on LinkedIn?
Well, it's a premium version of LinkedIn that you pay extra for. I believe it's about $99 a month or somewhere in that range. They have discounts you pay for the year. And it's a great way to find people. If you're, let's say, a business owner and you want to connect with potential clients, you can do the advanced search features that you don't get normally on LinkedIn by finding out, based on location, but most importantly, how active they are on LinkedIn, which is essential. So if they are currently active on LinkedIn and maybe they change their position, that's an opportunity for you to connect with someone who is maybe you will get a response from. Because a lot of times, as you mentioned before, not everybody's active on LinkedIn, and that can make a difference of reaching out and not getting any response versus someone who is somewhat active on there. And you can find people based on their industry, occupation, and down to the size of the company, their role in the company itself, president, how many employees they have, job title. Get as specific as you want, and it's really quite an impressive tool to use if you use it the right way. Particularly with AI technology, you can really, dominate the marketplace because not a lot of people are really taking advantage of that particular,
Yeah, LinkedIn's still kind of like a big, I think the horse racing term is overlay, right? It's when the 10 to 1 or the even money
Well,
shots going off at 10 to 1, right? Can you hear me now?
yeah.
Hello? There's a lot of undiscovered value in LinkedIn, it seems, right, like right now. So once a salesperson finds some prospects, how do they reach out to them? What is the best way to reach out without sounding spammy? But clearly you want to do business with them, but you also want to establish a relationship. And what is the best way to open up that conversation?
Well, I guess it depends on the connection that you have with that individual. If they're a second connection, and maybe if they're part of the group that you're in, it'll probably get more, maybe be more well received as opposed to maybe a third connection and not part of any group. And that will be more challenging. So it depends on that relationship that's established. That's one of the factors to look at. And for the most part, if someone who is connecting with someone, you have to look at it, they're going to look at you as, who are you? And they look at your profile. And if they see you're SEO specialist or something, they know they're going to be hit. As soon as they connect with them, they're going to be pitch slapped. Okay. And people are tired of that.
I
And
love that saying.
that could be a challenge. So I usually recommend is follow an individual. And what you'll do is you'll find out when they post, if they're active on it. And then when they do post, respond to their post in a way that's favorable. And you can use AI technology to help you to provide a response to their post. Because most of the time when these individuals do post, if they're not an influencer, nobody cares. And all of a sudden, if they see you responding to it, it's like, wow, somebody replied to my post, and do a little bit more
Right.
than thanks for sharing, but provide more value to that. And maybe even ask them a question or two. And a lot of times they'll acknowledge you. And that's the opportunity where you have to connect with them. Because if you get acknowledgement and they say thank you, and they appreciate that. And that's maybe an opportunity when you can connect with them. So I do it the subtle way. And sometimes, it may take a few tries before they get responses to get them to think about, maybe connecting with you. So that's usually a good approach.
Yeah, people love being heard, right? They just it's hard talking into the void, especially on a place like LinkedIn where there's so many people and somebody should hear you. So let me what is there value? Let me ask you this. Is there value in starting your own group?
Well, I have begun starting my group on LinkedIn. It does take a while to grow, so it is something for the long run, I would say. It just depends on, what you're trying to accomplish. Groups are not for everyone, but I certainly would say that if you are a company, have a company page where a lot of people tend to forget that is important. And company pages are definitely a important aspect for any business owner to have a presence on LinkedIn, not just for themselves, but also as a company.
Is it good to as a company? Do you just kind of post? I mean, do you kind of want to do the thing of, hey, we're doing testimonials. Hey, this is a big event that happened at our company. We had a grand opening. Or is that relevant stuff to post on there? Is that, or are you always kind of trying to? I mean, that's more of a. That's not really being a thought leader, is what I'm saying. Are you? It's more of a documentation of things that are happening in your company along with the industry. Is there value in doing posts like that?
Well, if you are a company, let's say, for example, I don't know, you're like Coca-Cola or something. Obviously, you have hundreds of thousands of employees. If someone is looking to work in that company, the first thing to do is they're going to check out the company page on LinkedIn.
Mm.
And if the company is active and, the employees are commenting how they love the place, well, that's going to convince someone to, consider working for the company. But if the company is on the other end of the spectrum, they may decide to look for another company that, when the employees love their job, and that's something that could be important. So company pages do remain a factor, particularly for, people who are looking to hire people. They need to know that having company pages is essential as part of their outreach.
That's an excellent point. And just how do you want prospective employers and prospective clients, I guess, to see you? Because you're kind of speaking to two audiences, I guess, with a company page. I've heard of people, and I've heard of this on Twitter and Facebook, and even with websites, people that will have groups, and they will either somebody post something, and then other people will comment on it, or there'll be like a dozen people in the group, other people will comment on it, or they'll repost it on theirs or stuff like that to try and give it more juice in the algorithm. Is that a good strategy or a dangerous strategy or just an unnecessary strategy? What is your take on that?
Of people posting on LinkedIn
No,
in
of
group?
people posting, and then let's say they have 5 or 10 other profiles, and they all just make a point of kind of repurposing other people, or reposting their stuff, or always commenting and liking on it. I'm saying, is that something that does that help the algorithm if you have it's kind of an artificial way to boost the post? I'm saying, is that worth doing? Does stuff like that work, or is it just kind of silly?
Well, I mean, if you want to boost posts that way, LinkedIn does offer their own advertising feature where it can, you pay money and they'll boost your post if you feel that's the direction you want to take. And some people have been successful with that aspect. So it just depends on what you're trying to accomplish. But I think as far as moving the needle by reposting other people's things and commenting randomly, that's really not going to get a lot of traction, I would say.
Okay, so um, the algorithm, though, like you said, it sounds like it loves posting. It sounds like it's posting to the right people. So when you're building your followers, a lot of people will build followers of people who are in the same industry, right? But it sounds like, so you kind of want a combination of both. It sounds like if I'm doing accounting, for example, and all my friends and connections are with accountants, but I write a post for connecting with doctors, or accounting for doctors or medical practices or whatever. Will the algorithm get that to doctors, or will that only show it to the people that are kind of in my network? Does that question make sense?
Well, yeah, I would say that if a doctor is subscribing to a newsletter, they certainly will get it as soon as you post. And they'll get it not only just on LinkedIn, but through their email servers and such. And that's really a good thing. As far as just posting it on LinkedIn and hoping to get a doctor to read it or something, most likely not, unless you're well connected with so many followers. It's really a challenge, to say the least. And otherwise, you'll have to spend money on that. I think the fact is that if you want to connect with physicians, you could certainly use LinkedIn and find out if they are actually active on the platform. I find, very few of them are active, to be honest with you, in my experience, because, they're busy in their practice. Doctors are
The
quite,
doctorate, right?
are on call, so they don't got time to go on LinkedIn if at anything at best. But other industries certainly are more active than others, so it just depends on who you're trying to target.
Interesting. Yeah, I guess that. So, are there certain things? Do you need a certain, like, I know, like, for example, Facebook, if you have this many friends, or followers, you're able to do this many more things with your profile. Is there a follower count you're trying to hit, or a connection count that you're trying to hit with LinkedIn, that you want to kind of, it's a healthy one that you want to maintain?
Well, I think they tap out with connections at 30,000, but followers, it's pretty much unlimited, which is a good thing. So I find that it's, if you can get more followers, I mean, that's great. It's certainly going to raise your profile. And LinkedIn certainly does like that aspect because it shows you are important to the community on LinkedIn.
That's very cool. Finally, are there any, like, I know there's Dripify, I know there's Galaxy or stuff like that. which kind of work with Sales Navigator. Are any of those good? Are they dangerous? I mean, what's your feeling on like the tools like that for doing kind of like mass, I think, connections and things?
Mass connections or these third-party tools are kind of frowned upon in my experience, and I've used them in the past, and they've, gotten me in a lot of trouble, I would say, because there's no shortcut when it comes to LinkedIn. They want you to be on the platform and inputting in there. They don't want you to hire a VA to go ahead and do it on your profile. It's not going to fly with LinkedIn. The only time it does work is for a business page. But for the most part, they want you to be active on LinkedIn. And, when using third-party tools, you check your chances of your account being closed or restricted because of the activity that's on there. So you have to be very careful with it. Stick to ones that are authorized by LinkedIn, which is their premium service, their Sales Navigator. You won't have any problems.
That is fantastic. All right, so now I know you're the founder of the Linked Vantage system. You have a website, and you have some courses on there. You offer one-on-one training and consulting, I believe. Tell us a little bit about that and how people can get in touch with you.
Yeah, well, you can go to my website, linkvantage.com. I have courses available. I created a new course, actually, which has over 100 different videos of 1-minute videos on LinkedIn that you can learn at your convenience, and talks about all aspects from optimizing profile to how to do outreach. It's really incredible. So I just released it actually this week. So
Wow,
you can go
congratulations.
to my website, check it out. And I also have a free optimization profile checklist that your listeners can go have access to by going to linkvantage.com/audit, and they can receive the checklist to help you optimize your profile. It gives you all my insights, and it's free, and I don't even need your email. You can just go right ahead and get it. So, which is a beautiful thing.
That is a
follow me
beautiful
on
thing.
LinkedIn, obviously, of course, and get my book, which is called the AI LinkedIn Advantage.
The AI LinkedIn Advantage. I saw it. Oh, beautiful. Hold that there. The QR code for you,
Yep.
for our visitors watching online. Scan that right there. I did see originally it was like just on Barnes and Noble but now you have the Kindle book, which is as far as an ebook goes, and so that's very cool. Congratulations on that, and you can also get the hardcover.
And it's on audio as well too, Spotify. So for those who enjoy audio versions, there's an audio version, which is how I consume.
Did you read the audio version, or did you have AI do it?
No, I hired actually, I did actually use AI. My last book was hired someone, but yeah, and it was incredible, lifelike, and it was really because doing an audiobook, is incredibly challenging, and to say the least. And if you can have a way to streamline it, then by all means, and that's what I did.
That is very cool. Well, congratulations on the new course. Congratulations on the book. And thank you very much for coming on here and sharing your expertise with our listeners on this episode of Persuading for Profits. That's it, everybody. I hope you have a great week. Thank you to Al Kushner. Get his book. Get the free site audit from his website, linkedvantage.com. Right, Al?
Yeah, linkvantage.com/audit, and you'll go directly right to the link where you can get that checklist. And
man, that sounds great. Thank you very much for your time, Al. Thank you, everybody, for listening to us. Thank you again to Radio Update. Everybody go out and have a great week, and we will see you next time on Persuading for Profits.